Trying to figure out what happened there. All right, there we go. Oh yeah, this is about to be good. Hey, I know Sunrise, you finna like this one because Sunrise told us about this movie a while back when it before it came out. He said, "Hey, you go check out this movie called Fall with Holly Berry." You remember that Sunrise? This is about to be good. Let's roll that intro while we give him time to get in the building. Oh yeah, Rob.
Young L on the beat.
Right. Say, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. As you can see, the page is under construction. We getting all the thumbnails redone. So and them Tahuti thumbnails, I'm doing some high power alchemy on those. Them thumbnails is hot. It's like 3 more classes that come out on that. So they already this one gonna come out every day at 3 o'clock if you want to take out those Tahuti School of Alchemy tapes. This that first 7 set is the first basic classes. Then we'll get into the high powered stuff later on in the class. But now we're talking about the moon fall movie breakdown, and we're gonna be talking about the moon, right? Because a lot of people got a lot of questions, man. We heard we put the tape out earlier. Really it's old tape, but we just getting it all, logged in the archives so that we'll have it already if you want to ask about that. Um People asking questions about I thought they couldn't get out of the atmosphere, right? Man, listen to what I'm telling you. They try to keep us behind as Nubians on what's going down, right? So we got to go all the way back in order to understand the moon game. We got to go all the way back. Keep in mind, Adolf Hitler, and the Nazis and the Third Reich was in bed with Ashtar Command. You got to keep this in mind. Hitler was in bed with Ashtar Command. Hitler and them was on the moon in like 1945. They had already had UFOs or these saucer type crafts, which they got the technology from these Ashtar Command to try to what Ashtar Command was trying to do because they bought white supremacy. They were trying to give Hitler to create this superior race and then give them technology that would advance them farther than everybody else on the planet, the public, right? And so that they can take over the world. That's what the game was. The Astral Command game was. Hitler take over the world, but that they failed. They failed miserably. Miserably. You know what I'm saying? They failed, right? But Hitler, when Hitler and them lost, they didn't really. The word on the street is they didn't really lose. They just went underground, and so they went to Antarctica, Argentina, and went up and set up the Fourth Reich on the moon. They put a movie out about it called Iron Sky. It's a movie called Iron Sky, where Hitler and them was already set up on the moon. Matter of fact, let's see if I got some of them pictures in here. Let's get into the screen. Let's bite right down into it. You know, let's get right down into it. Hey, Rob Bot, if you're coming in, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, man. We finna bite right down into it. Yeah. Let's see. We finna crack heads and twist. This is gonna be good, y'all. Okay, let's look. Let's look at where we at. I'm gonna show y'all a couple things of what was going on. All right. Hold up. Hold up. Alright, so yeah, keep in mind the Dark Fleet, the Dark Space program set up by Hitler. Hitler and the Ashtar Command working in bed. They was already going to a lot of planets already outside of the solar system. These people are the reason why certain higher dimensional beings stepped in to put a block on these beings. The avian bird beings put the orbs out to keep these beings from going out because they was going to other planets, like slaughtering people, stealing they minerals, and they was working on behalf of Ashtar Command. They would call the Dark Fleet, Hitler's Dark Fleet. I got a whole book over there on it. Right, I think I showed y'all that book on Hitler's Dark Fleet. Trying to get the chat. Oh, there you go, right there. All right, yeah, yeah, yeah. So they was already going to the moon. They had UFOs in 1945. Keep this in mind. Hitler now. Really before that, they really was working on technology like in 1939, Hitler now. And so keep in mind, you got to make all the connections when you talk about because a lot of people at the questions they ask, it seems like they still in Neanderthal type thinkings. Because they try to keep the public behind, like about 40 years. They try to keep the public behind 40 years of what really is going to tell you. You on that other thing, I said that about the Balchinians. What are they? A lot of this information they get from real events, and they getting it from our ancestors. The Dogons talked about a lot of the beings that they show you in Man in Black. The Dogons. I showed y'all that on a different type of extraterrestrial part two. Right, we about to crack heads, man. Don't worry about nothing. But what happens is 1945. You got to keep in mind about Project Paperclip. And supposedly, the U.S. confiscated some of Hitler's UFOs, and they brought the scientists that were building these crafts over to America. This and they set up what you calling NASA, right? NASA is set up based on Project Paperclip. Okay, not NASA. The rocket shooting out of space thing is really a front for they already had UFOs from Hitler, 1945. A lot of this stuff might go over people's head, man. They might think Young Elder crazy. I don't know. But you gotta make the connections. NASA was a front for them to tell you they building some rockets, and they was building rockets, but they really was building the rockets to make the missiles, make the nuclear weapons and all that. That's really what they was doing that part for. To build the rockets, but they already had stuff that can go to the UFOs that can go to the moon in between 20 and 40 minutes, which they got from Hitler. Yeah, NASA, Nazi. You see the connection. Chief, shout out Chief Smoke, baby. Smoke something, Chief Smoke. Right? So they were going to the moon before they told you. They faked that moon landing because they had to come up. They couldn't show you that they was going with the UFOs and the UFOs that they had got from Hitler and the scientists and stuff that they was working on. And then they later on after like set up Roswell, not Roswell, Area 51 at school, and they set up Lockheed and made it a private corporation so that they can break certain guidelines and certain rules as far as the supreme laws and shit on the land that they had laws that they had passed, like on the cloning and all that, right? They've been cloning since 1938. We already put the George Green tapes out about that. But remember they took over a part of Hitler's scientists and brought them over here, Project Paperclip. Boom. They set up NASA so they can have you on the TV screen and promote that they making some rocket. Houston, we have liftoff. At the same time, they in the Dark Fleet space program. They fund using drug money to start try to re-engineer some of these crafts. And they hired a guy by the name of Bob Lazarus later on. Once they because the scientists, a lot of them, they got rid of them after they got out most of what they thought that they could get from them. All right. So keep in mind, Hitler and them were already on the dark side of the moon. They already said they put a movie out about it, like I say, called Iron Sky. Uh, here's a base that they show you, like some kind of building that they show you that Hitler and them set up on the dark side of the moon in the Iron Sky movie. Just think about this, man. They can't make all this up, but they gotta tell you the truth, and they tell us the truth in the movies. This is what some of the Fourth Reich or what these guys look like. What the uniforms that they wore, these black Hitler's black space program, Dark Fleet program. This is one of some of the uniforms that how they dressed, right? Here you go, right here. Here you go another picture. They was already on the moon. The Germans was already on the moon, and they was on Mars and all that. The Germans, they actually come from Aldebarans, but the connection with Hitler and Astar Command, that's how they got to the moon. All right. So the Germans was the first on the moon, then the Russians, and then the US, right? The US took because the Germans was already in bed with the Russians. So they got a connection with to get on the moon. Then uh these the Project Paperclip, the front was to shoot these rockets, which really is a missile. That's what it is. It's an explosive device because it's got all this fuel hooked up to it. It can explode, you know. So that technology really was technology that they was trying to throw you off that they already had the anti-gravity equipment from the Bell and all that. Yeah, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, letting you know that there's a difference between man and mankind. Right? See, the mankind, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you, is a kind of a man. He's not the man, he's a kind of a man. You know what I'm saying? Tell you, man, Elijah Muhammad was tough, man. They could handle Elijah, man. All right, so they was going to the moon already. And remember, Baba told you in that tape, the tape I put out, the truth about extraterrestrial, that they had created alternatives to get out of here because they was trying to find a place to go. They was trying to get up out of here. So one of the alternatives was to try to get to the moon. And they was like I say, they was going to the moon. Hold on, let's blow this up. This part. Let's blow this part about how they was setting them the moon base up. Hey, Rob Bot, hit that like, hit that subscribe. All right. So, like Baba told you in that tape, the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, that they were trying to create these alternatives just in case the earth, because they know they had read the Samaritan tablets and they read the Mayan calendar and all these different stuff that our ancestors left behind about different calamities that take place in certain key times on Earth, right? So they know that the Earth was going to flip and all this other stuff, right? The pole shifts and all that. So and they saw that everywhere they went on Earth, we was already there. We already had laid. we was already indigenous to every piece of the land on Earth, even on some of the water. You got niggas living in the middle of the ocean, right? So we was already indigenous to all the land. So they Enlil's kids or these other beings, they couldn't lay claim to no land, truthfully, because unless they wipe us out with genocide, right? So they said we got to get the hell up out of here, right? Everywhere we go, we see Nubians there, so we got to get up out of here. So they said the first alternative is let's go to the moon. So we got to get up to that moon. We got to see what's going on. So they eventually go to the moon, like in the 1940s, right? And that's the time, a little bit after the time where Johnny F. Kennedy. They actually showed the Hollywood scene the first because they tried to beat the Russians. They had to make the public think that they beat the Russians, but the Germans and the Russians was already on the moon. So they faked this, they staged this wag the dog moon landing in Hollywood to make you think that they landed, but they later on, like I said, they had already been going. They couldn't show you the part where they had already been going with the Project Paperclip with the Hitler thing. They couldn't show that, hey, we using UFOs, we already going to the moon. They could have really blew Russia out and said that, hey, y'all going to the moon, but we going to the moon too because we got UFOs. So technically, like I say, US still came after Russia. Russia was going like in the 1930s and 40s to the moon. Um, but what I said, this was another alternative living area for them. When they found out that they can't find no place where we ain't indigenous to, so they can't like, and the Earth they trying to destroy our planet with the ozone layer. Now that's what people was asking. They said, well, I thought they couldn't get past the firmament. So the rockets, right? We told them after it was after 2019, we told them don't shoot no more of these rockets out of space like this. You got to have certain type of technology to get out of this atmosphere because they busting holes in our ozone layer by shooting these rockets. This rocket has to tear through the certain dome. We got 7 layers of domes on the planet that's protecting us from ultraviolet rays, right? So these when they shooting these rockets up, they busting holes in the ozone layer. So in 2020 in 2019, certain groups of grays that's in control of this keeping control of this stepped in and told the government. They told them in like 2017, I think. And they said, don't shoot no more rockets out of space and don't explode no more nuclear weapons out of space. So when they told them that, they say, "Yeah, we don't give a care what y'all say. We our own people, right?" So they shot it up again, right? When they shot them up, these people shot them down. These Grays shot they NASA rocket down. You remember that in 2000, I think it was 19 when it blew up and went all into pieces. I mean, some of them fell all in Houston. And remember that when that rocket ship blew up, right? So this type of technology, the rocket type, is tearing the hole in the firmament. And so certain extraterrestrials put locks and grids on these people and told them they couldn't do it no more. That's why you ain't heard nothing about NASA launching a rocket. And then Elon Musk called himself trying to get a rocket out of space, but they shut that down too. The Grays shut that down. So that's why he ain't. That's why he pretty much bagged off of it once he found out that, hey, it's certain extraterrestrials saying you can't shoot rockets out of space no more because you're breaking the holes in the ozone layer. Satellites are inside the dome. Yeah, the satellites are inside, kind of like inside the sphere, like in a certain the satellites are inside of a certain sphere, the magnetic sphere, because there's another sphere outside of the 7 spheres called a magnetic sphere. They in that sphere in order for them to stay locked in orbit, or else they'll float off into space. Because how do those satellites just not float off unless they locked into a certain orbit? It's locked into that magnetic orbit. We might break some of that down on here. All right. So they went to first they landed on the moon, right? When they got there, they encountered certain types of creatures that were like these I can't say xenomorph, like they were like some kind of spider that can jump. The spider, like they remind me of the ones that we seen in Iraq, called the sand spiders, or these Afghanistan type spiders, the ones that can jump high, they real big spiders. So they saw them and some of them was killing the astronauts, right? and they say, "Oh, we could get past that because they had the laser. They was developing laser weapons, shoot these things, right?" And so they was trying to set up alternative living areas on the moon, and they started setting up all these domes. Now let's go back. Let's go back before we get into that, okay? Because I want to talk about Buzz, Neil Armstrong. Also, Neil Armstrong, this guy knew a lot. This guy right here knows a lot of the secrets, man. He knew a lot of the secret because he was one of their main guys they were sending up here. Up here, Neil Armstrong. He know a lot of the secrets. He know Neil Armstrong said that when he got up there, he the one that said that made them go arrest Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? See, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a they said he was a third had a third grade education. He can't speak that good, right? He can't read good. But this little dude named Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking about this plane, this mother plane that was a half a mile by half a mile up in this space. And Elijah Muhammad said that it maintained 40 miles outside of the atmosphere. And then in every 6 months, it'll come into the atmosphere, roll out like a hose, and suck in hydrogen fuel because it fueled off hydrogen, and then it'll go back up 40 miles outside of the atmosphere. Now, this dude Neil Armstrong, when he went up there in this like in the 70s, I think it was. Well, no, it was in the 40s. No, it was in the 70s. He came back and said that, "Hey man, I seen this craft, right?" It might not have been it was the first astronaut like in the 1940s because they had seen they seen that craft up there, but Neil Armstrong said that there was this he seen that go ahead, close my door. Close my door, brother. Yeah, so let me go back. All right, so Neil Armstrong went up there, right? I can't remember what year exactly what year it was, but he's the one that came back and said that he saw the wheel up there and said that it was this loud humming sound coming from it, right? And that's when the government really got started getting scared, right? Then also Neil Armstrong said that when they went to the moon and when they let go of the fuel tank, the big old orange fuel tank that be on the bottom of the rocket, right? Let me show you this part right here. It might have been the two small ones. Hold up. Let me show you. Do I got it in here? I don't got the rocket in here. I don't got the rocket in here. Yeah, but you know the NASA rocket with the big old fuel tank on it, right? Neil Armstrong said that when they were about to land on the moon, he let go of the fuel tank, that it hit the moon and it sounded like a bell. It sounded the moon rang like a bell. So it stands to reason, like I say, this moon is an artificial moon. And hold on, let's break this. Hold on, I gotta let me get this dude Haru real quick. Haru, you gotta go and play your game. We try to go live to mess with it, man. He's not doing good. My wife should be she outside. All right, so I'm thinking that this crust or this dirt that's supposedly look like dirt. And keep in mind, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that they went to the moon and they tested this dirt and it smelled like gunpowder, right? So based on the all the information that we collected on the moon being hollowed out, this dude got me sidetracked, man. Based on the information that we collected, now let's say that this moon was a part of Earth at one point, and it's locked on the side that it was blew off on, like Elijah Muhammad said, right? So, but certain types of group of extraterrestrials molded this moon and locked it right there, and it's hollowed out. It's hollowed out based on what the Neil Armstrong, the bell joint and all that, right? So the moon is hollowed out. keep in mind, most people in your galaxy live on the center of their planet. Let's blow this up. Man, it's mighty funny. If you go back and check my old tapes, like I say, we upgrade our page right now with all the thumbnails and everything. So if you go back, we had put this about the moon being hollow and it having a kinetic engine in it. We put that information out way before Moonfall came out. Moonfall came out in 2002. We put that information out like in 2018 about the moon being a kinetic engine inside the moon. It's like these mega superstructures. The dude Dorsey, what he says right here, let me show you. Dawson Spears. They talk about that dude in the movie. In this movie, they show you how they go inside of the moon. We're gonna get into this too. Let me go and talk about this part too. Now, in the movie, they got these nanotechnology that's attacking them, right? And this nanotechnology is trying to take over the moon, right? And it's feeding off the moon. The moon has a white dwarf star in the inside that powers it, and this nanotechnology want to take over the moon. And you notice that it's attracted to uh our technology, like phones, laptops, so this thing, right? Now, keep in mind, we showed you about the graphite. The graphite, the heavy metals that they put into the soft drinks and everything in the meats. They got it's already in cell technology being we had to take it down due to copyrights. Y'all remember the graphite? It's like little black stuff that if you put your cell phone next to it, the cell phone react to it. And so keep in mind when they show you in this movie, everything they had is electronic, like cell phones, laptops of this nature, this graphite or this artificial intelligence or this advanced type nanotechnology was attacking them. You remember? So I know about the graphite. All right. Keep in mind this type of extraterrestrial life form goes back billions of years because they were called the first type were created by the Anunnakis. They were called the replicators, and they had created them. They had created it as like toys or like some kind of play toy, so they can mold different stuff. This nanotechnology, this advanced stuff to have pets and create dolls and different advanced technology out of it. But when the Anunnakis left the planet that they created it on, and they left this nanotechnology by itself to develop on its own planet, it became more intelligent and more intelligent. And eventually it absorbed, they kept on multiplying and absorbed it and destroyed their planet because they absorbed all the natural resources on their planet. So they end up leaving there and going planet to planet, absorbing everybody's natural resource to where we had to go, certain group of extraterrestrials had to go and start fighting these beings to try to stop them from taking over everybody else's planet and galaxy. So it's been an ongoing war for billions of years against the nanotechnology. A shout out Commando. It says, what's the difference between graphite and graphene? I don't know for sure, but I know that the graphite is like the small type, micro type metal. Graphene, I don't know. I'm about to look that up. It could. I'm imagining that it's got to be similar. It's got to be a symbol, similar. But I'm gonna look that up and get back with you on that, Commando. Graphene and graphite sound like it's around the same lines, just like probably like a feminine and a masculine, negative and a positive type of thing of how it reacts to certain technology. But if you look at the movie, this same type of technology is already here and being used against us already through our technology. It's all that nanotechnology is already here in a lot of our bodies already reacting to cell phones and things and killing people, man. I'm telling you. We can't say too much, but we're trying to keep it clean as we can. Um, but let's continue. Like, so they teach us that the moon is like, cause like they taught us the earth. Like I said, most, at least 70 to 80% of the planets and moons in your whole universe is hollowed out. A lot of the people live in the center of their planet, right? So this is all this manner, earth crust, and all that. This ain't even that thick. The moon is about 20 miles crust, 20, 30 miles of crust. And it's made from a certain type of material that's harder than anything you could think of. Now they show this hole because keep in mind your planet got a hole at the top, which you could go down in to get to Shambhala. The moon has a hole down in the top that you can go in and get into the inside of it. NASA try to paint that out. Another thing that Neil Armstrong said, which is why they said they cut the feed when they was going live about them going over the moon. They cut the feed because he saw they when Neil Armstrong and them started taking pictures of the moon, they saw lights coming from the surface, like cities. Because you know how you when you in an airplane, right, and you flying up, yeah, the ID star system is where the first species of grays are originated from. The ones, not the ones that we created. Well, we did actually create those avatars for them, help them create those avatars. But that's the galaxy that they come from, the Ida galaxy. Yeah, but like I was saying, Neil Armstrong, when they was going on to the moon and they was getting ready to land, they cut the feed from NASA. Why? Because Neil, they was reporting that they seen city lights. And keep in mind when you fly in an airplane at night and you riding over a city, right? You can see the city lights, right? So they were seeing the lights like that, like it was a whole bunch of cities all over the surface, right? And so what they found out it was a whole bunch of dome cities already. It's people already living on the moon. It was people already living on the surface and in the center of the moon. It's huge, these huge belt like cities. Like I'm gonna see, can I find a picture of it? Man, it's already people living on the moon, bro. And Baba said that. Baba said that these people, these Tradakidites and these lunar beings that came from Pluto. They was already, see, look, this is lights. Okay, let's go back. All right, so you can see them at night too if you look up there good, right? You can see them. Kind of, you can see like it's different. It's cities just like on Earth all over the moon, the surface. It's cities on the surface of the moon, on the dark side and the light side. It says, and inside the earth and within the sea. Yeah, it's life forms in it's whole cities in the sea underwater. With the nomos. Um, okay. Oh yeah, while we hit it too, let's get into this. All right, so people ask questions about the lady. Where did she come from? This lady is, you look at, she had a mustache. Keep in mind the women are the first beings here on earth, right? The women are the first beings here. Keep in mind the women used to what they call not what is not apex. The women can produce their own kids. They didn't need a man because the women had both genes. That's why you that's why this woman got a mustache. Because it goes back to the women was here first. And keep in mind this lady was that ship, they estimated it, the ship that they found her in carbon date. This right here is Apollo 20. That ship is about billions of years old. That ship is billions of years old. Hey, yeah, asexual. That's what they call it. Thank you. You can't handle the truth. So this woman is an asexual. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's why that's why the mustache is there, right? All right. So what was they doing? Keep in mind she was driving one of the big cylinder crafts.
that was hauling the gold to Nubaru. They keep in mind they were hauling the gold to the Anunnakis were hauling the gold to the moon to Nanar set up on the moon. Nanar had a base set up on the moon where they was hauling the gold there. Because keep in mind, a lot of the ruins of the Anunnakis bases they had set up and from these people that came to the moon was already set up there. Right? That's one thing. Like I say, so they was hauling this gold to the moon and they was taking it to Mars. This lady actually is a Martian, being from the Mars. Because the people from Mars were the Gigis. They weren't from Mars, but they had a base set up on Mars where they were hauling gold there. That was later took over by Murdoch. Put in charge of Murdoch was put in charge of it. All right. Let's talk about this part because they talk about this in the Moonfall. I also keep in mind in Moon that the Anunnakis build planets, they build stars, they build solar systems. Keep in mind a lot of planets are artificial planets. You got what you call artificial planets. That's what the moon is. The moon, a lot of these moons in your solar system are artificial planets. What they do is they'll capture a white dwarf star and then build around the white dwarf star a planet. Keep in mind your planet, the Earth, has got a center sun right now inside of it. It's got a center sun right now inside of it. So what they would do is they would build these planets around this white dwarf star and use the white dwarf star as a power source. And then they would build these huge 3,000, 5,000 mile long rings. And then they would be probably like about 20, in between 2 to 25 miles in width. And they would build it like Earth, like with dirt, build like a habitat. They would build habitats on all of these rings, and they would rotate around this sun just like a planet, just like the planet the planet rotate around the sun. So it'd be like they kind of like in a real type thing with the sun, right? But the sun is being controlled and the temperature and everything is being controlled and monitored. And then they would build like a whole planet, a planetary size ship. So it's the same thing as your planet. Our planet really is kind of like artificial. After the crash, after Nubaru crashed into our planet, the Anunnakis remolded it, and it's kind of like an artificial planet. It's because the crust is only 700 miles thick. And then you get down into Shambhala, which is the center of Earth. We got tapes out on that already with Billy Woodricks. We got plenty of tapes out on that already. Trying to see. Okay, so this is a different looks on what it looked like. Type in Dawson Spears. They break down the concept of these planetary type shit. That's what Nubaru is. Nubaru has a sun, white dwarf star in the inside of it. Because I was wondering when I went on Nubaru, I said I got a sun like you outside. But now I know that sun was one of the same thing as this white dwarf star captured. And what they do is they live in the center. Most people live in the center of their planet, and they create habitats in the center. Right? It's more people that live on the center of the planet than it is on the surface, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, so Moonfall, we get into that too. Right? The kinetic engine inside the moon. Hey, if you got any questions, says where did they go? Where did who go? You got any questions? Drop them in the chat. Where did they go? Where did who go? Anunnakis? Yeah, Asiatic. She really from the first type of Homo sapiens that were created to work the mines for the Anunnakis. Remember the Sands, she really like a Sands, like the first prototype of the Sands people from Mars. Because remember, they went to Mars and set up a base with a face it, right? And they began the Atomum project, right? It took them 600 years, but it was different prototypes that were created during that time. And Inky, instead of destroying them, Inky let them live, and they stayed on Mars. So that lady is from the first type of prototype Homo sapiens that they were creating on Mars. and they use these beings because they get you in. They use these beings to work the mines eventually. You remember? All right. So, but they got you under the impression that these beings were just using chisel and hammer, but they actually was operating heavy equipment like big cranes, big trucks that you see, them big mine trucks, and they were also flying the dump truck type UFOs, which is the cylinder crafts that were hauling the gold. This lady was a pilot off one of the Homo sapien prototype pilots who were flying the cylinder crafts back and forth to the moon to deliver the gold. But what happens is the reptilians came and started fighting against remember, a war broke out between these Agigis and the Anunnakis and the reptilians. And that when that war broke out, that's when that craft was shot down. And whoever was on that craft with her, when she must have died or whatever, and they probably took her consciousness and preserved her shell right inside of that craft because it was already sealed airtight. They said it would been sealed airtight on the dark side of the moon for billions of years. For billions of years. So that's what for the people that's asking questions about where that lady from. That lady is one of the prototype Homo sapiens from the project, the Adam project for Mars, who was one of the worker beings of the Lulu Amalus who were working the you see how I color her skin, that's the same color the skin of when you look if you look at somebody's body, if you look at a Sans man, that would be perfectly preserved. Even going back, like I say, she was asexual. That's why she got the mustache, right? Because she had more of she had the masculine and feminine principles. Man, we don't want to crack niggas' head too much, man. We're trying to keep it light. We like to do these 40-minute takes because we see that the watch time is but this might be a good one though, so they may want me to keep going. Right? Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, man. So that's the story behind the lady, the lady they found on Apollo 20. But keep in mind, it's a lot of stuff they've been covering up about how this moon's an artificial satellite, man. And that this moon also can be controlled and guided from the supercomputer in the center of the earth that was set up by the Riskian hybrids who are called the Danako, the big head people. Keep in mind the center of your planet is being ran by the Danakos, who their leader is a being by the name of Field Core, who Billy Woodricks mentioned though. He said it was this big head dude. He didn't say that he was dark skinned. See, they don't want to tell you that all these people dark skinned, like the dude said on the tape earlier. He didn't want to say that these people were dark skinned, but he said that this dude had a big head and he been living forever. He been living for billions of years, this dude, right? And he said that this dude was in control of the planet. He talking about Field Core. Now, Yakub's dad name was Yishak, which is Field Core's brother. Field Core had a couple of brothers who disagreed with him and decided to come to the surface and live on the surface right around where Mecca and ancient Kemet is at. And the reason why they disagreed is because they said that Field Core was taking sides with the Terus. He was taking sides with the Terus and not honoring their people's heritage and honor their traditions. So they got mad and came to the surface, and that decreased their lifespan. Because when you come to the surface, when these people come to the surface, your lifespan decrease. But when you go to the center of the earth, your lifespan slow down because it's a higher dimension. Well, one day is like 1,000 years, versus on the surface, one day is 24 hours. At least that's what they tell us, right? Maybe no such thing as day and night. We get into that. Hey, we got them Tahodi classes. You need to go check them out. What else I want to say, man? Before we get up out of here, man. Says I didn't see no. Now, like, okay, so like now, like they went like muscular like that. Like, go look at the Sans people. You just get an idea. Go look at type in SANS space people, Sans people of South Africa, right? And look at those people. And then correlate that with if you look at the first prototypes of these people that you see that are like her type, the type that she is, they still live on Mars right now. Those asexual Homo sapiens, that the first types going back even before that, even before like the proto doing the mix and the prototypes of the 600 years, those beings still live on Mars right now. Yeah, she's a sans person. That's what she are. She's a sans lady. She one of the asexual first prototypes of the sans people that will be in doing the Mars project. I mean, doing the Animum project. Hey, what up, Robert? What up, Robert? Hey, hit that like button, man. Show your brother some love on the Cash App, man. We about to get up out of here, man. We got any more questions while we get up out of here? I think we did enough. When I make them short, they get them. They get them checked quick. See, I thought reptilians live on the. Yeah, reptilians. Reptilians do visit the moon and got have bases set up on the moon, but there's only certain groups. The disagreeables being banned in there. Medusa is you talking about Medusa from the Greek culture, right? Medusa really is Murdoch's daughter, who real name in ancient Kemet is Wajet. Look up Wajet. She Murdoch had a wife amongst the Dragonians. Are these Nagas, they really not Dragonians, but they really are serpent type beings, that the same ones like the Hindus. No, the Hindus, the Nagas. These half man, half serpent type people, right? So these people, Murdoch took a wife from amongst these people to make a treaty with them, and he birthed a daughter named Wajet. Wajet becomes Medusa in Greek culture, but it's really an ancient. And she was the one that was seducing men in the desert and getting them on stone, getting them to smoke crack cocaine, because they had this drug back then in ancient Kemet. They had all the drugs that you do now. They had them back then, but Wajet was turning people into stone by getting them to smoke the stone. The stone, baby. What the hell Yeah, Jeepers Creepers was a reptilian species, the Dragonians. That's right. And we might do a whole movie on that breakdown. But keep in mind in the connection with the vampires and how they sleep, right? The Dragonians, Dracula, right? Dracula, that's where they come. That's where they're coming from with the Jeepers Creepers. Dracula, the bat, half man type creatures, right? Yeah, the nigga that wrote that shit gotta be twisted in his mind. Like a lot of people that put out this stuff, they gotta be twisted. Like Michael Myers and all these guys. Man, what's that guy name? Steven Spielberg, I think his name. These guys, man, I wonder what's going on in them guys' head to think of this, to pull all this demonic energy down to the planet, man. They gotta be on some weird stuff. Says there is off world traffic near the moon. Yeah. Hey, shout out P Quab. P Quab. It's Serapis Bay. Hey, yeah, P Quab, they trap it's human trafficking. It, a lot of the humans that's being taken from the planet and come up missing, they get taken to the dark side of the moon. And either they get skinned and they take their skin just like you do like a lion or something. You get his skin, a bear use his skin for a rug. Well, they selling human rugs, human shoes, and purses and stuff on the dark side of the moon, and human meat is being sold on the dark side of the moon to off-world extraterrestrials in exchange for other things. It's one dude that came clean. Matter of fact, hey, we put the tape. The same dude, Corey Goodman. Corey Goodman, the dude that we just put the tape out talking about the black extraterrestrial, right? On the movie that he put out, it's called. He said the name of the movie in that tape too, but I'll think of it in a second. Somebody can drop it in the chat. But he talks about how they had to, how he went, how he was he was a part of this program that when they was going to the moon. I'm gonna try to find the tape and upload it. Right, where he talk about they was going to the moon and that he ended up going to this room where they had human skin and human meat in packages, and they were selling it to extraterrestrials, preferably the bugs and reptilians and certain groups of grays. They were selling this this plasma. Like, how they got all these blood drives. Well, a lot of that plasma is being taken to the moon and being sold to extraterrestrials that drank it, like these Marco Bean Grays. Man, I'm telling you, man. People might think the young girl crazy, but like I say, people that's out here talking saying the young girl will be making stuff up. If they go back and study our ancestors, the Dogongs was already saying all of this. The Dogongs were saying this. The ancient Egyptians were saying this. The Sumerians, all of our ancestors was saying that, hey, man, even the Hopi, the Almacs, what you think the mounds was all about? The mounds are landing pads for UFOs, man, over here, man. So people can say I'm crazy, but eventually, like, really, Bible said eventually it's gonna come out, but right now it's all coming out. Really, it's gonna come out right now. You know what I'm saying? It's all coming out now about what's happening here. So I ain't but eventually everybody gonna get to find out the truth. The Nomos, yeah, the Nomos are from Cyrus. The Nomos is the one that taught the Dogons, but it wasn't just when I say Nomos, you probably get the fish type beings, right? But it's more types of it's more different species of Nomos. Like all the species in the ocean is classified as Nomos, most of them. And then you had the Balchinians and the other beings that they show you. Matter of fact, go back and watch my different type of extraterrestrial tape because the Dogongs they make masks to kind of like give reverence to these different extraterrestrials that were coming. It was more than just the fish looking beings. It was being different. All the beings that they show you in Man in Black, the Dogongs got masks to emulate these people way before they wrote Man in Black. So who do they get? Who are these people? These people that do these movies, just like Credo said. I wonder who's writing these movies or where they get their information from because these beings are real beings. Like he said, that Dark Maul looked just like the Nomos beings that were some of the groups of Nomos that were coming up out of the water to talk to him. Said, we are our brothers from space. They right here. We are the brothers from space. And a lot of them are walking around, some of them in the center of the earth. You got to keep in mind, we on the surface, we are in a school, we are in a hologramic reality. You don't remember, but if some of your memory, you probably can remember. I'm gonna give you a little piece. Just remember the first day you came here. When we came here, we was all coming here for a competition. This is like a court, where we come here and we land, and we now playing the game of the gods. This is the game of the gods. We all came here to take part in this game of the gods. We just don't remember. But some of your memory gonna start to come back as I tell you what this is. Like I say, me and Rod already broke this down on the hologramic reality tapes. We all came here from different parts of the galaxy to participate in Project Blue Rock, which is a hologramic game to see how everything is gonna play out with all the different life forms in the galaxy. Yeah, that's right. Commando Swan, and they used to shrink people's heads, do what they call head shrinking. And the Aztecs were worshiping these Hindus and these Aldebarans who were really hitting Hindus too. That's why if you look at the dragon worship, it's connected with the Hindus. The dragon worship, the worship of these Nagas. And the Chinese they worship the dragon too, is all connected with the Hindus and the ancient Egyptians. The cobra on their head is come from the Hindu connection. Go back and watch my tape called Hindus Influence Ancient Egyptian Culture. Even the pyramid style building is Hindu from their planet. They build pyramids on their planet. And keep in mind, the 200 fallen were the builders. They were the 200, the mound builders and the builders. And they the ones that built the pyramids, and they were Moors, and they were Hindus. I'm telling you, man. From the planet Nevada. Yeah, but what you got? What else you got, man? We about to get up out of here, man. I got Hakeem calling for me in the background. Got any more questions before I get up out of here? Somebody got more questions in the chat? Yeah, so keep in mind, man, what this is all about. Moonfall, they were showing you how the graphite worked with the phone technology. You remember when that dude had a phone, it was attacking. He was like, cut off your phone. So he smashed the phone right? Because that's what's happening, man. They pretty much telling us to smash all our phones if we want to stop this this nanotechnology from taking over our stuff, man. Hold on, let me show you. For the people that just where is it? 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 That nanotechnology, man. Okay. I don't see it in there. Yeah, but eventually, man, all this truth gonna come out. Like I say, yeah, here you go right here. All right. So yeah, keep in mind about the graphite, man. Like I'm a reference. So I can have that for you. Next one. But I got Hakeem, he going crazy in the background, man. So let me see if I got any more questions. It's funny we're looking for the alien. I mean, how they were already. Yeah, you looking for aliens? Like aliens is everywhere, man. See, you looking for aliens? It was everywhere. The movie Bloodshot. Is that one with Rock with the Rock? Yeah, I watched some of it and like how they bring him back as a robot. I'm about to do it. I might have to do a review on that. I'm about to watch it again and do a review on that. Flat Earth. Oh man, I ain't gonna get into that. That's the Earth is flat and the Earth is round. It just depends on how small you are. If you huge, you tall, you big, you see the Earth is round. If you small to an ant size, the Earth is round. I mean, the Earth is flat to you. Now, the Earth is hollowed out. The Earth is just like the moon. You see how the moon is hollowed out? Well, the Earth is hollowed out just like this. It's a sphere, but it's hollowed out with a whole city in the inside, just like this. Most of all the planets in your solar system and the moons are hollowed out like this. They have a hole in the top. NASA always airbrushed the hole like this hole in the moon they trying to cover up. Yeah, the flat Earth people are still in this 2-dimensional thinking. You still small, man. You got a small mind like an ant. No sweat. You got a small mind like an ant. And from your perspective, because keep in mind, everybody has their own perspective. So we ain't saying you wrong when you saying the word earth flat. We're saying that's your perspective, not mine. From my perspective, I guess I'm a little bigger, taller, and bigger than you. I don't got a mind like an ant. So shit is round to me. Shit is round. The sun is round. The moon is round. The earth is round. Saturn is round. All the planets is round. Molecules are round. Cells are round. I mean, need I go on? I ain't even got to beat this over your head. Hey, yeah, we already got into the. I got tapes out on that Chief Smoke. I got tapes out on that called Galactical Law and Universal Laws already. A lot of we got over 700, close to 800 tapes out, and I'm like I say, I'm upgrading some of the thumbnails so you can really see what the classes is about. So you can go back and check those classes out. A lot of the information we already got out already. Even this moon tape about the hollow moon being hollow, we got to put this out before they put that movie out. About 3-4 years before they put that movie out. Let's go back and check the tapes. Check the time stamp on the tapes. Yeah, history repeats itself. Shout out P Quad, man. We about to get up out of here. I think we hit that hour mark. We got about 2 minutes. We'll take one more question, man. I got one more question. Says history repeats itself. Man, right? Hey, that's little children's science. John JoJo. Yeah, man, we ain't got to talk about no flat Earth, man. People that try to do that to us like they trying to pull us into like some kind of time warp back into a time warp in Neanderthal time or something. People that's most people that talk about flat Earth never left out of their own city. Really, they never traveled around the world. They never went on a boat, cruise boat, and sail from China to America in California. They don't know about Ho Shin selling over here from California. Why he ain't fall off the earth? Why Hoshi and them ain't fall off the earth when they sailed over here? Why are they study sending merchandise from China to California? Why, if it's an ice wall, when they had to sail from China all the way to New York and drop it off in New York? Yeah, I'm telling you, bro, these people crazy. You got to go back and check this one out, man. This another one. Hey, in the famous words of D.J. Cali, another one. And that wraps the tape up, brothers and sisters. Like I say, if you haven't checked out those Tahuti School of Alchemy tapes, we got part 4 out right now. Part 5 will be dropping tomorrow. Part 6 will be dropping Friday, and I think part 7 will be dropping Saturday. Saturday. So we want to thank you for flying with Delta Airlines. Make sure you got keep your hands, and get buckled down, and thank you for flying with Delta. So yeah, Islam, Hotep, peace, assalamu alaikum, shalom alaikum, ashug, divine love throughout the boundless universe to all. Wadu.